Russia here. Welcome to Touchstarved. It's loud and scary. It's telling me to press any button, and I think I should press a button. Oh, okay. Just gonna turn the volume down for a quick second. Hi, Russia here. Welcome to Touchstarved. This is a dark romance visual novel where our choices determine whether the story ends with gothic romance or blood-curdling horror. We get to explore an enigmatic city and find a cure for my curse by entrusting my fate to 5 love interests, each uniquely monstrous in their own way. So that's it. That's what we're going with. This game is the demo, obviously. I tend to do that. I play a lot of demos just because I get excited about games and I don't want to wait. And I saw this while I was browsing the Steam page and I was like, hell yeah! So yeah, let's get into it. Disclaimers. Oh. Streamers and content creators should turn music volume to 0 in order to disable copyrighted music. This is a demo of the Touchstarved prologue and not the finished product. Thank you. Content warning. Touchstarved is intended for an older audience. It contains mature content that includes, but is not limited to, horror, graphic violence, strong language, alcohol and drug references, injury and dismemberment. Player discretion is advised. If you accept the content warning, please click to proceed. And if you as a viewer don't accept the content warning, please click off and we'll try again next time. Thanks. In Touchstarved, your choices matter. The decisions you make may result in unique dialogue, interactions, or even choices in red text, which contain exclusive content. Try playing through the demo more than once and choosing different options. You might even uncover a secret ending. And remember, there are no wrong choices, only interesting ones. Choose wisely and save often. Left click, progress text. Mouse wheel up, rewind to... Oh, I'm rewinding right now. Okay. That's cool. Wow. Okay. So yeah, mouse wheel, rewind text and dialogue, mouse wheel down, progress text and dialogue, spacebar, hide the UI. Oh, choose my name. Rushi. Submit. Choose my pronouns. Ooh, thanks for asking. I'm a she, her. Okay, hold on real quick. Hold on. Options. Music. Okay, this world began to unravel long before you were born. I'll add my own music in later, don't worry guys. It began with fogfall. Spectral mist bled from the seams where reality wore so thin it split. And from that fog emerged monsters, inhuman beings with unnatural powers. Some possessed language and intellect, others were mindless beasts driven by little more than the desire to slaughter. As cities fell and unrest spread, humans united in their fear while monsters thrived in the chaos. And then there's you. You're not even sure if you're human. You were born cursed, with hands that alter the minds of anyone you touch. Choose your backstory. Okay, so there's the unnamed, a fallen oracle. You were raised as an oracle in a remote temple. The priest claimed your touch bestowed enlightenment, but a visiting mage revealed your curse for what it is. Following the mage's word, you fled in search of the cenobium. You regularly experience unnatural premonitions that rattle your body and soul. An innate sixth sense gives you a heightened awareness of hidden supernatural presences around you. The Hound, a forsaken thief. You were raised by society's outcasts, criminals who accepted you when nobody else would. Your partner in crime, a friend since childhood, helped you steal enough money for a cure, then betrayed you. They left you with only enough coin to travel to the cenobium, your last hope. You have sharply honed social intuition. You can survive and even thrive in the violent underbelly of any city, using your experience with the underworld to get ahead. Okay, or the alchemist, an abandoned mage. An exiled cenobium mage took you in as a child, raising you as her apprentice. She seemed to take pity on your curse, but you discovered that she was cultivating you as a test subject. You fled to the cenobium, seeking a cure. You're an experienced spellcaster with encyclopedic knowledge of alchemy, spellcraft, and history. With a little observation, you can identify the subtle effects of magic. Oh, I like the mage one, but I'm kind of feeling oracle for some reason. So I'm gonna go with the unnamed. Your name is Roshi. Sorry. Your name is Roshi. You selected she, her pronouns, and your backstory is the unnamed. Is this correct? You're darn tootin' correct. Yes, yep. I don't know why I did that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Whoop. The wasteland stretches as far as the eye can see. There's nothing out here but death, the ever-present stench of decay, and countless sun-bleached bones cast like seeds across the barren land. I could say death doesn't scare me, but to tell the truth, I'm desperate. It's been 2 weeks since I joined a caravan bound across the wastes. Finding a group that would accept me was a trial in itself. As rations grew sparse and my canteen ran dry, I began to despair, but then I saw it. Oh, is this Cenobium? Oh no, okay. Iridia, the city of knowledge, one of the last bastions of humanity left in the world and home to the famous academy called the Cenobium. Ah, so that's the academy. Is that the top spire? All the world's knowledge gathered in one place. If there's anywhere I'll find a cure for my curse, it's there. All that stands between me and a cure is a final stretch of salt-soaked wastes, or so I think until I see the first tendrils of fog snaking beneath the wagon. Hey guys? Hushed voice. Is this fogfall? My stomach sinks at the very whisper of it, a silent storm more devastating than fire, dangerous in cities but a death sentence beyond them. A thick blanket of fog engulfs us, smothering out the lantern's light. The wagon lurches to a stop. An eerie silence, heavy as the mist, falls over us. The only warning we get is a strangled scream. Stay back! No! The cry dissolves into wet gurgling. Whoa! Then the wagon violently pitches to the side. I hit the ground hard, the air punched from my lungs. When I open my eyes, adrenaline lends sudden, awful clarity to the carnage around me. A trader I once shared bread with lies face down in the mud, their back reduced to long strings of torn muscle, gleaming gristle, and exposed bone. Bodies litter the wasteland. Hello? I try to rise, but my ankle explodes with pain so blinding, white blooms across my vision. Only when my eyes adjust do I see the dark shape in front of me. Oh my god! A soulless stoops over the twisted form of a caravaner. Of a caravaner? Is that a word? I freeze, but it swivels its head. A dozen bulging eyes twitched in my direction and blink as one. That actually may have torn the soul from my body. The soulless lets out an ear-splitting shriek and runs at me. But right before it reaches me, the beast barrels past, vanishing into the mist. Distantly, a horse screams in the dark. I need to move now. Fucking run for the city! I take off running, deeper into the haze. The fog is so thick that I fear I'm headed in the wrong direction until I see a dim pinprick of light emanating from the shadow of a spire. It's faint, but it's enough. I came too far to die here. Rapid footsteps echo around me. I turn in circles, frantically searching the opaque mist for the source, but the fogfall twists and stretches around. Or stretches sound, sorry. Suddenly the caravan's driver bursts forth from the fog. Our eyes meet too late. He slams into me, knocking me to the ground, and slips in a patch of mud. The soulless falls on him as soon as he slows. It catches the driver by his throat and rakes his stomach with razor-sharp claws. He comes apart like wet paper, spilling intestines and viscera in a steaming tide. Fighting the urge to heave, I claw frantically through the slippery muck for a handhold. Shit! My hand catches on the jagged edge of a rib, jutting up from the water. Bandages unfurl around the gouge torn deep into my palm. The pain's quickly forgotten when a hand closes around my wrist. Can you stand? One of the travelers from the caravan leans over me. Oh no, he's gonna die. We need to run. They reach for my hand, and I realize too late that my bandages have come undone. No, don't touch me! The sensation of their thumb brushing the back of my hand sends a shiver down my spine. All it takes is one touch, and in the space of a breath, my curse takes hold. Their lips peel back into a deranged grin. This is insane. No, I've seen this face countless times before. This is my curse, madness of my own making. Their grip on my hand tightens until pain radiates from my knuckles. Let me go. Suddenly, clammy hands crush my throat, choking off my breath. Die, 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 die! Spit bubbles at the corners of their mouth and flecks my face. The edges of my vision darkens as my lungs scream for air. I'm gonna fight him off. My nails gouge deep into the traveler's wrist, but no matter how much blood I draw, they don't flinch. Shit. The more I struggle, the tighter their grip grows. My pulse hammers in my ears, slowing with each thudding beat. This can't be happening. I'm going to die, and not because of the fogfall or the soulless, but because of my own curse. Tears sting my eyes. No, not here, not like this. The hands drop from my neck, leaving me wheezing for air. My lungs burn with each ragged cough. My vision clears and the traveler's face takes shape, hovering inches from mine, lips still split into that macabre smile, even as blood seeps between their teeth. They give one last shuddering breath, then slump over the claws hooked through their stomach. The soulless shoves the body aside, and the glowing eyes studying its leathery skin, thin as though grinning. Oh, that's an awful way to describe that. Am I dead? There's a flash of claws. Red spills across my vision. I thought there'd be pain, but as I sink into the murky water, all I can feel is the grit of silt filling my mouth in the icy embrace of shallow water. Distantly, I notice an arm resting among an outcrop of reeds. Mine, neatly severed at the elbow. It should have taken both arms. Without them, maybe I could have survived. Maybe I could have had a home. Instead, I'll die cold, alone, and face down in a desolate wasteland. A fitting end for a monstrosity like me. Well then, if this is death, it's not as bad as I feared. The cold is gone, as is the choking stench of bog water. I could drift forever, cocooned in oblivion, until all thought and sensation vanished. No curse, nobody howling at me in madness and terror, nothing at all. The thought has a terrible appeal to it. But the next moment I take a reflexive breath. Air pours into my lungs, then out again in a ragged gasp. Ugh. Feeling comes flooding back, warm cloth on my bare skin, a firm surface underneath me, a strange tang of sulfur in the air. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Oh! Hello? I twist my head toward the voice. Tears flood my bleary vision at the bright glow of lamplight. Try not to move. The voice is calm, steady, and commanding, but more importantly, it's a stranger's voice. One thought cuts through my mental fog. I have no idea who this is, and I'm completely at their mercy. Stay away from me. My words come out in little more than a creaky whisper. I clamp my mouth shut, hating how weak and helpless I sound. No. No? Who the hell is this? Should I sit up, lie back down? I'm gonna try and sit up. I manage to push myself up on one elbow, but my head swims and my surroundings give an alarming lurch. A stubborn patient. I don't have the strength to dignify that with a response. Instead, I pull the sheet up higher and wipe my eyes until my vision clears. Oh! Oh my god, your hair is long. The stranger towers over my prone form. Warm light reflects off his pristine medical coat. Are you doctor? I instinctively shrink back, and that's when I notice that I'm completely naked except for a thin linen sheet. Excusez-moi? Naked, lying on a low cot with a pair of sharp golden eyes watching my every move, the man's gaze flickers to my exposed, unbandaged hands. I plunge my hands under the sheet to hide them from sight, though it's too late. He must have noticed what they look like. Strange, cursed, inhuman. I brace myself for his inevitable suspicion and disgust, but his expression doesn't even flicker from that courteous smile. He just watches in placid silence as I struggle to make sense of my surroundings. Where am I? Who are you? He's the doctor. Oh! Be calm. You are safe here. Whoever this is, he clearly has no idea who or what I am. I've never been safe anywhere with anyone. Even the shrine of my childhood, the one sanctuary I ever knew, turned out to be a horrific lie. I scowl, pulling the sheet protectively around myself. Where are my clothes? The man's golden eyes narrow slightly. A sharp sigh rustles the papers in his hands. I see you are not to be dissuaded. Your clothes were torn to shreds when I found you, but I procured replacements. Whoa! Nice office, brah! With a soft creak, he stands from his chair, giving me a better view of my surroundings. I seem to be in some sort of medical clinic. Bottles of silvery alchemical concoctions line the counters in neat rows. The air makes my nose twitch, a faint whiff of smoke and something distinctly metallic that I can't quite place. The doctor produces a large, dense bundle of cloth, which he sets at the foot of my cot. He's easily a head taller than most, and I have to crane my neck to look up at him. Thank you. I should be polite if I can, especially since I don't know who this is, what he can do, or what he wants with me. Meeting his gaze sends a hot frisson down my spine. Frisson? Damn. Something about him nags at me, like a half-formed memory I can't place. Thank you. You are welcome. I will leave you to get dressed. With a curt nod, he leaves through a narrow door. I love your hair! It's beautiful and fantabulous. I hear a soft click as the lock turns behind him. I count to 3 in the sudden silence. When I don't hear any more footsteps, I reach for the bundle of clothes. An itch on my elbow stops me short. I reach down absently to rub at it, then freeze when my fingers meet a neat line of stitches. I know what I saw. That beast took my arm clean off, and yet my arm shows no sign of injury apart from the black stitches poking through my skin. I gingerly flex my fingers, feeling my heart race at the sensation. This is impossible. I should be dead, or at the very least gasping at my last breaths. I squeeze my eyes shut, waiting for the pleasant dream to unravel, to wake up bleeding out in the swamp. But nothing happens. The seconds tick by, and my arm remains resolutely healed, my surroundings pristine and quiet. In numb disbelief, I reach for the replacement clothes and begin stiffly pulling them on. They're thicker and warmer than mine were, with a black woolen cloak to go with them, but there's one thing still missing, my bandages. The golden-eyed man didn't leave me with any, even though I know he saw my hands. I slide off the bed and take a few unsteady steps towards one of the drawers. If this is indeed a doctor's clinic, there must be bandages somewhere. I start opening drawers at random, and of course, that's when the door swings open once more. Are you looking for something? I whirl around, clutching a thick roll of clean bandages. I try to step back from him, but my legs bump up against the edge of the cot. Your caution is understandable, though if I meant you any harm, you would know. That doesn't make me feel better in the slightest, but he makes no move toward me, so I quickly wind the bandages around my hands. The glowing scars and mottled skin disappear under a layer of clean white cotton. May I ask why you need additional bandages? I clench my jaw. I knew it would only be a matter of time before he asked about my hands, though the way he does it is strangely roundabout. I'm declining to answer. Well, that's a very personal question, and I don't really want to answer. Is that so? Surely you realize that I can only help if you tell me what ails you. An involuntary snort of laughter escapes me. Where would I even begin? Would he even believe me if I told him? No, best to keep my curse to myself for now, and learn more about him first. Who are you? You may call me Curus. And where exactly am I? Iridia, which I assume was your caravan's destination. I can think of nowhere else for a group of travelers to go. Iridia. So I made it to the City of Knowledge after all. I should feel relieved, but all I can manage is a vague sense of increasing unease. How did I end up here? I brought you to my clinic, of course. You were the only survivor from the caravan, barely clinging to life. You needed immediate treatment. Which you provided? Yes. He says it so simply, as if I'm a small child and he's explaining basic addition to me. I frown and flex the fingers on my recently healed arm. Aside from being a bit stiff, it feels fine, thoroughly attached to me. You're saying that you stitched my arm back on? Pardon? A soulless attacked the caravan. It ripped everyone to shreds. It tore my arm clean off. But when I woke up here, I trail off bewildered. I've never heard of any magic that could heal a mortal wound like that. What kind of person could do such a thing? The doctor, Curus, pinches the bridge of his nose. He sits back down in his chair, quiet for a long time. I do not know where you come from, but Iridia is the city of knowledge, and deadly secrets alike. Information is power, and it is most unwise to give or receive it freely. Since you have refused to divulge your secrets, I will not divulge mine. I do not even know your name. You are new to Iridia, so I will overlook this specific breach of etiquette. However, you should not expect others to extend the same courtesy. Do you understand? He looks pointedly at my freshly bandaged hands. Loath, though I am to admit it, he has a point. I'm also a complete stranger to him, and if he's telling the truth, he saved my life. I take a deep, steadying breath. This time when I speak, I sound a bit more like myself. Roshi. My name is Roshi. Oh, he smiled a little bit. That was cute. It is a pleasure to meet you, Roshi. There's a little more warmth in his smile, his polite demeanor back in an instant. Thank you for saving my life. I chance a smile in return, even if he won't explain how he did the impossible. There's no doubt in my mind that I'd be dead if not for Kuras. Think nothing of it. I'm not sure if he's just being excessively courteous, but his words only raise more urgent questions. But I have to ask, why did you save me? You don't know me. The question seems to startle Kuras. I could hardly leave you to die in the wastes. Assisting those in need is the very essence of a doctor's duty. I've never met a doctor who also handed out free clothes. My fingers find the edge of the cloak. There's a subtle but delicately embroidered pattern around the hem. I try not to think about what kind of price Kuras might ask for such well-made clothes. No, I suppose not. Forgive my presumption. I rarely come across so fascinating a patient. I blink. What did he just say? I simply meant that few would cling to life so resolutely, or brave such a perilous journey to Iridia. I could not help being curious about you, Roshi. His voice dips to a soft murmur, and he abruptly looks away from me. Well then, you're pretty curious yourself. Am I? Well, I haven't forgotten about my arm. I wiggle my intact fingers at him. Clearly not. But you haven't asked me for any payment either. I require none from you. Travelers do not have an abundance of coin, and it would be unethical to leave you destitute in a strange place. I fall silent, unsure what to say to that. Nobody would help a horror like me for free. There has to be some kind of catch or trick, right? A loud knock at the front door stops our conversation cold and spares me from having to say anything else. Duty calls. Unfortunately, you are not my only patient today. The knocking grows more insistent, and Kuras lets out a tired sigh. Please wait your turn. Though he says it quietly, the clamour on the other side of the door abruptly stops. Do you need anything before you leave, Roshi? Oh, between the soulless attack and my miraculous survival, I'd almost forgotten why I came to Iridia in the first place. I need directions to the Cenobium. The Cenobium? The look on his face is downright chilling. He pauses, choosing his words with cold deliberation when he speaks again. Whatever you seek, it is very unlikely you will find it there. The Cenobium's gates open for precious few visitors. Even if they did, you would not like what you found inside. My heart sinks. Is he saying that I came all this way for nothing? Risk life and limb for nothing? No, that can't be. I've only just arrived, and Iridia is the largest city still standing. There has to be a cure for me here. Then if not the Cenobium, where would you suggest? Do you know anyone else in Iridia? I shake my head. Then I suggest a local guide. Head to the Wet Wick and ask for Leander. Excuse me? The wet what? The Wet Wick. He sounds deeply unamused. Follow the postings advertising Leander's bloodhounds. They are difficult to miss. When you meet Leander, tell him I sent you. That isn't much to go on, but Kuras points towards the clinic's back door. You'll be safe so long as you do not draw attention to yourself. That's easier said than done. I've always been a magnet for the worst sort of attention. If you require my assistance, you may return whenever you wish. Though he's smiling, there's a note of finality in his voice. Resigned to my dismissal, I slip out the back door. Bye, Kuras. Ooh! I find myself standing in a narrow and rather gloomy alley. I pull the new cloak up over my nose, stepping over the contents of chamber pots that have been emptied into the street. Ew! Something weighs heavily inside one of the cloak's pockets. My coin purse. Everything is still inside. Every last coin that I'd scraped together for the journey to Iridia. It doesn't even look like it was opened. There were so few coins to begin with, they probably weren't worth stealing. I glance back at the clinic's closed door. Kuras didn't take any payment. He didn't even ask for a future favor. But he also said that in Iridia, secrets are power. Does he expect me to give up mine at some point? That's not exactly a comforting thought. Still, no matter why he did it, Kuras gave me a second chance and a lead on where I might find help. I better get going before he changes his mind. I squeeze out of the alley and into the crowded main street. The line outside Kuras' clinic stretches down the road already. Two thin peddlers queue alongside weathered elders. If any place is in desperate need of a free clinic, it's this one. The cobblestones are treacherously rough under my feet, deep grooves worn between them by regular flooding and decades of hard use. I knew Iridia was a river city, but I didn't expect it to look so eroded. The buildings are tired and dilapidated, all crammed together in narrow streets. And there's something else, a charge in the air like the shift in pressure before a storm. It's subtle, little more than a faint, persistent thrumming, but I can't seem to shake it. A child darts by, clutching something greasy wrapped in paper. The smell of fried food drifts over me. My stomach gives a faint gurgle. I'm hungry. This morning's catch, fried up, hot and fresh. Not too many eyeballs today. That sounds disgusting, but I'm starving, so I duck my head under the stall's grubby awning. A large fish leers up at me, its 3 bulging eyes still visible through the thick layer of crispy batter. The vendor gives me a gap-toothed grin. What's the cheapest thing you've got? The vendor points at a metal basket of what looks like long strips of savoury fried dough. Fresh long, lads. 3 copper apiece. Don't burn your mouth. I take the coins out, counting them gingerly. At this rate, I might not even be able to afford dinner. Reluctantly, I drop the payment on the counter and take my meal. Fuck. I'm so poor. 2 streets later, I pass under a wrought iron archway adorned with dangling garlands of red and pink lilies. The buildings in this quarter are a dizzying riot of colour, painted walls and tinted glass everywhere I look. Sheer red and pink curtains flutter in open doorways, musical voices call out invitingly, incense mingles with the pungent scent of flowers, barely covering the salt and musk of warm bodies. This must be Iridia's entertainment district. I'm polishing off my food and dusting the crumbs from my hands when I spot a poster. It features the silhouette of a smiling man wearing a single dagger-like earring and the word Bloodhounds printed above his head. A motto, as above, so below, circles the artwork. If Leander is the leader of the Bloodhounds, then the face printed on the poster is likely his. I follow the line of identical posters around a corner and nearly hit my head on a precariously dangling wooden sign. Looking up, faded orange letters read The Wet Wick. The facade of the building looks like it's seen better days. Seen better days. But I hear faint music and laughter coming from inside. Damn, faint! The inside of the bar is a far cry from the abandoned exterior. It's not even midday, yet most of the tables and booths are occupied by a loose assembly of people in matching green cloaks. Bustling bars are not something I'm used to, but I steel myself with a deep breath before pushing forward. A cursory glance doesn't turn up anyone with a dagger-shaped earring. I'm about to head towards the counter when a chant rises from the center of the room. Show, show, show! The remaining green cloaks abandon the bar and their booths to rush towards the center of the room in a sudden torrent. There's no time to move out of the way. I'm caught, swept along in the ale-stench current. Hey! Rhythmic chanting drowns out my voice. I thrash, throwing out my elbows as the press of bodies grows heavier. My hip knocks into a table. I grip it, holding on tight to steady myself, but the crowd is stilled. The chanting stopped. A pair of gilded boots stride across the tabletop. Oh my god. Seriously, you dogs. Again. Scattered laughter and cheers rise from the audience. I drag my eyes upwards. A well-dressed man stands on the table in front of me, his broad shoulders framed by the thick lapels of a trench coat. This really is the last time, all right? This time when he speaks, the audience falls silent, as though bewitched by his magnetic presence or rich, low voice. But nothing is as captivating as his smile. He beams at the crowd around him, a performer on his makeshift stage. Don't blink, or you'll miss it. He laughs and the dagger-shaped earring dangling from his left ear catches the light in a flash of gold. It would seem I've found Leander. He raises his hand above the audience and snaps. A flash of pale green light, real magic, no ordinary stage trick, blinds me. Whoa. As the brilliance ebbs, my gaze refocuses on the mage towering over me. He flicks his wrist and the magic spiraling around him coalesces. A delicate flower stem sprouts from between his pinched fingers. One by one, glowing lily petals spring forth. The flourish, the mage presents the conjured flowers. The audience bursts into clapping and cheers. A genuine magic show was the last thing I expected from a place called the Wet Wick. Leander plucks the iridescent bouquet out of the air and turns in a slow circle, giving his audience a good look. Now who could use some good luck? Eager onlookers scoot closer to the table. Some reach for the lilies while others whistle and call Leander's name. Woo! But his cool green eyes slide right over them, locking on me instead, of course, because I'm the main character. How about you? My chest tightens. Every person gathered turns to stare at me. I'ma take the flowers! Of course! I reach out, all too aware of the way my fingers tremble as I carefully take the flowers from him. There's no weight to them, only a faint warmth that radiates from the stems. As soon as the flowers leave Leander's hand, their light dims. They fade away in a shower of opalescent light. To my surprise, Leander laughs under his breath. That's the problem with flowers. They don't last long, but they leave an impression, right? He grins at me and I find myself smiling back. Ew! Cute! God damn! For all them dark romance girlies out there, this one's for you. Leander steps off of the table, dropping among the excited crowd with an audible clink. Alright, bloodhounds. Get back to your drinks. Show's over. The green cloaks disperse at his command, returning to their tables and booths. Before I can make my way towards Leander, his eyes find me. He gives me a friendly wave, then beckons me over to the crowded counter. Well, he seems nice. I manage to squeeze beside him, but there's so little room that his broad shoulder presses against mine. I tense, but he doesn't seem to mind at all. Is this your first time in Iridia? He says it lightly with a genuine air of curiosity. Do I stick out that much? No, but I'm certain I remember seeing a face as lovely as yours around Lowtown. What? Leander! My eyes flicker to the polished countertop. I'm not used to flattery, and being this close makes eye contact difficult. As if on cue, the bartender approaches us. What can I get ya? Surprise me, and add anything my friend wants to my tab. I wasn't expecting the generosity, but I have to admit, I do feel a little thirsty after all that fried dough. Water's good. Water's fine. While the bartender leaves to fix our drinks, Leander leans his elbows on the counter. I'm close enough to notice the purple shadows under his lower lids. He tired. His eyes wander over me in return, but when they lock on my bandaged hands, a sour taste rises in my throat. Here comes the questions. So, what brings you to the Wick? Oh. Curris sent me. He pushes his hair back from his forehead, but it immediately falls right back into place. So it's about work. The bartender pushes a pair of glasses our way. I don't realize how thirsty I am until the cool water touches my lips. I drain the water in a single gulp. Leander takes a deep swig of his beer and lets out a satisfied breath. How can I be of assistance? I need to get to the cenobium. As soon as the word cenobium leaves my mouth, the entire bar falls silent. Bloodhounds twist around in their seats to gawk openly. Finally, an especially drunk one speaks up. The hell are you bringing up cenobium in here? Throw him out, this is bloodhound territory. The vitriol catches me off guard. From the angry looks thrown my way, it's clear I've broken some unspoken rule just by mentioning the cenobium. When I glance at Leander, he's drinking as though he hasn't noticed the uproar. Only when he catches me looking does he lower his glass. For the love of... He drags a hand down his face. Hey, keep it down, will ya? This is business. I tense, expecting an argument, but the outspoken bloodhounds silently return to their drinks. Only a handful continue to watch me warily. Sorry about them. The cenobium's a bit of a touchy subject in these parts. Mixing enough drinks and, well, you saw. How about we continue this outside? When I give him a terse nod, he pushes away from the bar counter. I'll follow you anyway, Leander. I'm coming. Oops. I follow Leander to an alleyway tucked behind the wet wick where layers of frayed bloodhound posters have been plastered to the walls. Seeing them side by side, the resemblance between Leander and his likeness on the posters is impressive. Curris didn't send you here for help with the cenobium, did he? From the look he gives me, he already knows the answer. I glance away. No, he didn't. He suggested I find an alternative. Yet here you are, asking about them anyway. What do you need the cenobium for? I don't want to tell him about my curse. The less people know about my capabilities, the better. Thankfully, Leander takes my reluctant silence as an answer. Well, I see you're already aware of the city's currency. Information's worth its weight in gold here. Curris told you the truth. The cenobium's dangerous. Get on their bad side and they'll imprison you if you're lucky, or torture you if you're not. But the cenobium's supposed to be a place of learning, a sanctuary. The cenobium has always been heralded as the last bastion of human knowledge, a shining beacon of hope in a world steeped in nightmares. If any place held answers, it would be the cenobium. That's why I came here. That's what they want you to think. The things that seem too good to be true are often just that. Such a simple statement, and yet it leaves me reeling. If it's true, if I staked everything on a lie, Then what now? Leander clears his throat. But as I always say, there's solutions to every problem, and alternatives to every solution. He claps his hands and turns to me with a brilliant smile. That's why Curse pointed you to the Bloodhounds. Let us help you. Whether it's hunting soulless, finding people, or recovering stolen valuables, we can do it all. And free of charge. I'm shaking my head before he's even finished his practice speech. My patience is wearing dangerously thin. Listen, I appreciate the offer, but my problem can't be solved by a group of good Samaritans. To my chagrin, Leander nods slowly. Then your problem must be fairly serious. And if the Cenobium's your first choice, you're searching for a magical solution, aren't you? When my eyes widen, he nods along, as though he suspected all along. I'll be happy to help you out. That is, if you'll tell me what ails you. Leander might not work for the Cenobium, but he is a mage, and a powerful one at that if his demonstration earlier is any indication. He's being too kind. I'm a bit concerned. I'm silent, plagued by indecision. I don't know if I can trust him, but it's not like I have any alternatives. Oh god, don't make me choose. I hate to admit it, but this could be my only path forward. My confession comes out in a pained whisper. I'm cursed. Cursed? Oh, now I'm very curious. What kind of curse? Something ancestral or more recent? He looks me up and down, taking in my face, my eyes, and finally my hands. It's your hands, isn't it? I wait until I'm certain my voice will remain steady before answering. My touch is dangerous. It changes people, hurts them. Before I've even finished, Leander begins taking his glove off. He tugs his left hand free and flexes his fingers. Let's see it. He offers me his hand, and a prismatic flash of magic ripples across his palm, but I'm already shrinking backwards. I can't. I don't care how confident Leander is, I can't bring myself to hurt him, to see his kind face twist into a mask of madness. Believe me, this isn't an ordinary curse. I'll be fine. Perhaps where you came from, your affliction was strange and one of a kind. But spend a year in this city, you'll see 1,000 curses and thrice as many cures. Do you really think Curse would send you here if I couldn't handle it? How should I know? I only met him today. I'm as good as any mage in the Cenobium. Better, even. If they can help, so can I. You don't know what you're asking me. I'm asking you to trust me. I look from Leander's outstretched hand to his confident smile. He's gonna go crazy! Fuck! Then with a short breath, I begin unwinding the bandages from my hand. Fine, but if you lose control, don't say I didn't warn you. You can tie me up first if it makes you feel better. Oh? Damn, Leander! With each joint I expose, I grow more and more certain that this is a terrible idea. Ready when you are. If he's bothered by the way my hand looks, he doesn't show it. My fingers hover shakily over his palm. 3, 2, 1. Oh, this is... I don't want to hurt him! I'm gonna hold back. I hesitate at the last second, but Leander does not. Fuck! His hand closes tightly around mine. The instant his fingers graze mine, his expression goes blank. Leander? I try to pull away, but he won't let go. My stomach sinks, fear clutching me even harder than Leander's grip as he takes a slow, deliberate step closer. His free hand rises, outstretched fingers angling towards my neck. No, you're... just fine. Interesting, that's one hell of a curse. His hand lands gently on my shoulder to steady me. I didn't even realize I was shaking. I search Leander's face for traces of madness, but his eyes remain a clear, soft green. Color rises in his cheeks, but he remains still except for the subtle bobbing of his throat. Neither of us speak as I trace the contours of Leander's palm, lost in an awareness I wasn't prepared for. I've been with other people, kissed them, been embraced by them, and more, but not like this. My fingers, long deprived by years of bandaging, pick up every single detail. The grooves of his palm, the smooth shell of his nails, the pulse of his heart. For as long as I've lived, I've never been able to hold someone's hand, not without dire consequences. I never realized what I was missing until this moment. While Leander's pulse is steady, mine is hammering as fear gives way to excitement. I'm gonna let him go. I draw my hand back and take a steadying breath. My head feels as though it's stuffed with cotton. Habit alone guides me through the motions of rewrapping my hand, although my fingers tremble too much for the bandages to lie flat. I can't believe that worked. May I ask your name? I'm Roshi. You were right to hide this from me, Roshi. That curse of yours, it's unlike anything I've ever dealt with. I can tell you're discreet, but you best not go showing that off to anyone else. I didn't plan on it. Are you staying in Lowtown? I pause. Room and board was something I hadn't yet considered. I don't know. Let's get you properly settled then. Leander's just a bowl full of helpfulness. The Wetwick is noticeably quieter. Without their leader, most of the bloodhounds have dispersed, or in a few cases, fallen asleep beside their drinks. Got any rooms left, or did my lot grab them all to sleep it off? The bartender, who I now realise doubles as an innkeeper, slides a key onto the counter. You know, always keep your corner room open for your escapades. Oh, goddamn, bartender. Leander's laugh sounds slightly strange. And I always appreciate it, but you're mistaken. This is just for my friend, Roshi. Sure, sure. Stay as long as you like. You two have fun. Escapades, huh? Leander clears his throat, then holds the key out to me. But I hesitate. My coin purse barely holds enough for a day's worth of meals, let alone a room. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Bloodhound rates. My treat, since you shared your secret. Food, drink, a warm bed, anything you need. Carefully, I take the key from him. It's small but weighs heavy in my palm. I never expected to have a warm bed in Iridia, let alone free meals. Thank you. Go explore, Roshi. You'll find many roads in Iridia, each leading to different answers. But if you need a reprieve from what haunts you, come find me. Just be careful. I nod, taking one last look at the gleaming bronze key before tucking it into the pocket of my cloak for safekeeping. Leander gives me one last friendly wave before I depart. Dude, Leander's nice as hell. Thanks, Leander. The air clings sodden and heavy. Without the morning crowd, the sunless streets look barren and bleak. Even the peddlers are long gone. Only a pair of crows remain quibbling over stale crusts in a gutter. I feel a ridiculous pang of envy. At least they've got reason to fight. I've never felt so lost. Curus and Leander both made it clear that the Cenobium can't be trusted. But I came so far, endured so much. I need to see the Cenobium for myself, if only to satisfy my curiosity. I should have asked someone at the bar for directions before leaving. I'm about to turn back when a shadow passes over me. A cloud, I think, until a puff of hot breath tickles the back of my neck. The shadow runs down the street in rivulets. Formless dark spreads like ink into blotted shapes. Claws stretch. A muzzle splits open to reveal long, jagged teeth. A growl rumbles so low and deep I feel it. I want to run, to scream, but I feel trapped, as though the slightest movement or a single breath will snap the jaws around me shut. No, I won't let it end like this. If I'm going to die, I want to see what got me first. I steel myself, then turn. Hello? The shadow vanishes as quickly as it came. I'm left standing in the middle of the street, alone except for a figure reclining in the shade of a nearby stoop. The fuck you doing to me, bruh? Oh! A monster. That much is clear from a glance. One that could nearly be mistaken for human were it not for the tufted ears, the tail curled around his ankle. Or the dusk pink eyes with pupils that sharpen like needles when they fall on me. Our eyes meet and the monster uncrosses his long legs. His hair gleams a shade of red that reminds me unsettlingly of blood where it curls around his collared throat. What voice would I give him? Jumpy, aren't you? His tone is so light and carefree that I glance over my shoulder to make sure he's speaking to me. When I look back, the stranger props his chin on his knuckles and regards me with an inscrutable little smile. Didn't you see that shadow just now? It was massive, moved like a beast. Even as I speak, I'm aware of how ridiculous I must sound, but the stranger's smile doesn't falter. The only beasts I've seen are the strolling regulars. Though this did catch my eye. He stole my key! With a flourish of his hand, my in-room key appears dangling from his finger. It turns on its chain, glittering when it catches the light. My hands fly to my cloak's pockets and sure enough find them flat. He crooks his finger, beckoning. I've already taken 2 steps forward before some stifled instinct stops me. Something feels wrong. I'm still on the edge, thrumming with so much adrenaline that the stranger's shadow flickers at the edges of my vision. I always attract the worst kind of attention, but I can't get rattled now. How'd you even find it? The key, I mean. What can I say? I'm a sucker for shiny things. He smiles wide enough to reveal pointed canines. I saw you drop it. You really should be more careful. City like this, somebody might take advantage. A bald-faced lie said without a hint of irony. I can't figure out how he picked my pockets under my nose, but I'm certain he took my key and I need it back. I approach the man, careful to keep an arm's length away. He doesn't look dangerous, but the most deadly ones never do. The stranger's chain softly clinks with the tilt of his head. His ears flick. Keeping your distance? I'd be stupid to trust you. You think I stole your dinky little key from all the way over here? He gives an exaggerated sigh. I'm good with my hands, but not that good. Do I really look like a common thief to you? He's got me there. The sheer fabric of his sleeves alone would be too expensive for most street thieves. Hell, his shoes look like they cost more than I spent traveling here. And then there's the shop behind him. No matter the city, parted pink curtains only ever mean one thing. I'm not looking to buy, and I doubt I could afford your services anyway. Luckily for you, I don't charge. The man runs the tip of his tongue over a fang, and for the first time since I stepped into that shadow, I feel something other than dread. Ooh! My face grows hot. Ah! That's not what I meant. I'm flattered, really. Where sex my trade, I might make an exception for you. How about half off for a handy? Oh. God damn. Or you could just hand over my key. Ask nicely, and I might even let you tug my tail. Just throw it here. So, some spindly little street urchin can snatch it and run. He raises my key and tilts his head so he can watch it dangle back and forth. I suppose I could just claim your room for myself. Not that I'd be caught dead slumming in the wick with the rest of those slack-jawed imbeciles. You're obviously not from around here, so tell me, traveler, what misfortune brought you to this wretched place? His voice practically drips with derision. I'm not telling you anything. What could have possibly drawn you to this dreary little Big Ben, I wonder? He listlessly watches the arc of my key swinging around his finger. The weather's shit, the food's dreck, and there's entirely too many monsters for a human to feel safe. Unless... Dagger-sharp eyes flick towards me. They gleam with amusement. Unless you're just dying to consort with monsters. By now, my embarrassment has worn away, leaving simmering impatience in its place. If this is a shakedown, it's the most frustrating one I've ever heard of. Should I turn him down or flirt back? Let's flirt back. Let's be daring. How'd you know that I spent all my money, starved and nearly died in a swamp just so I could crawl into bed with the first thirsty monster I saw? That earns me a burst of breathy laughter. He gazes at me under his dark lashes. Aren't you funny? Could you be any more obvious? I have been told subtlety's not my strength. So, your place or mine? I'd invite you if I had my key. If only I had my key, then I might be able to invite you up. His languid gaze glides from me to the key in his hand and back. Come, take my hand, and we'll go together. The more he flirts, the more convinced I become that this is some kind of trap. No matter how innocent monsters look, they always have tricks up their sleeves. And something tells me that this one's more dangerous than he lets on, even if he has a lovely laugh. I don't know what you want or why you're messing with me, but I'm not coming any closer until I know you aren't going to attack or bite. I won't bite hard, unless you beg me. No matter what I say, he finds a way to twist my words into innuendo. Even when I'm silent, he goes on as though we're having a conversation, not a standoff. Do you like dancing? There's a traveling troupe performing in Hightown tonight. Their lutist is utterly exquisite. Truly a performance to die for. There's life in this dreadful place, if you know where to look. You sound like you know the city well. The man's gaze flickers from me to the key dangling from his finger. Naturally, this dump was little more than a miserable little smear when I first arrived. Hightown, Lowtown, I know every deal like the back of my hand. What about the cenobium? Do you know where that is? His smile vanishes. Surely you've seen it. That absurdly large tower looming over the rest. It's a little hard to miss. He must mean that spire I noticed when I first caught sight of Iridia. The cenobium's overrated. Forget about it. I can show you things those stuffy boars in their limptic tower couldn't even dream of. I've already got plans. Oh? Have you some pressing matters at the cenobium? Lunch dates with librarians? Tea time with the most esteemed abbess. That's my business. What's it matter to you? I square my shoulders and the amusement bleeds out of him. Your loss. The stranger, finally bored of his tedious game, extends his hand towards me. The key rests on his palm, neatly dividing skin and leather. When he makes no other move, I reach for the key, but as soon as my fingers graze smooth brass, his hand springs shut around my elbow. God damn it. Hey! Whoop. He yanks me down and he yanks me fucking down, Jesus, and I stagger, my soul slipping on the steps. For a sick moment, I fear my bandages will unravel under his touch, but he's careful not to disturb them even as his fingers dig into my arm. I knew I smelled blood. You reek of death in the road. And that fucking doctor. His voice, once silken, lowers to a smoky growl. The shadows around him seethe and boil as he pulls me closer. Uh-oh. And something else. He murmurs against my throat, nose grazing my jaw. Let go. I try to twist away, but he doesn't budge. His breath trails down my neck, sending a thrill of dread through me. But just when I fear he'll bite, he takes a deep whiff instead. His wide, flat eyes gleam with naked hunger as he gazes up at me. Not quite human. Not quite monster. Seems we're both. Oh. Vera? The stranger's ears flatten and he releases me with a short breath. I yank my arm back, massaging it where his grip left grooves in the bandages. The stranger twists around to watch a woman duck out from the curtains behind him. Her pressed uniform marks her as a cleric of the Cenobium. I leave you for all of what? 10 minutes and you're making trouble again. Will you quit harassing the tourists? The stranger, Vera, I take it, rolls his eyes and flashes the cleric a withering smile. So suspicious. Can't you see this is a friend of mine? A natural liar. He grins at me and his tail swishes minutely. The woman purses her lips at me, clearly unconvinced. I open my mouth to correct him, but Vera cuts in. I was graciously offering my dear friend some free advice. Though his voice remains light and cheerful, his expression darkens. Danger's drawn to you like a moth to a flame. It will always find you, given time. The woman clucks her tongue as though she's heard this recital 102 times. Word of advice. Don't take free advice from lazy foxes lounging in the streets. This crook would sell water to a drowning man for the sheer enjoyment of it. She shrugs off a wilting look from Vera. Oh please, any friend of yours knows it's true. Now hold still. Vera rises gracefully at her approach. He pushes his hair aside so it drapes over one shoulder, exposing the long line of his neck. And suddenly it dawns on me that the jingling I heard earlier wasn't coming from the harness attached to his collar, but a leash? Oh, I don't like that. A heavy iron chain wound around a hitching post and padlocked to the back of his collar. No, Vera. Vera posed deliberately to hide his leash from me. The woman produces a keyring from her pocket. She rifles through a dozen identical keys before selecting one and slotting it into the lock. Come on, unless your friend's tagging along on our merry little soulless hunt. They're hunting for soulless inside the city? Words momentarily fail me. The woman regards me with a polite, if tight, smile before marching down the stairs. Vera lingers. He stretches his arms over his head with a yawn, and I try not to stare at the way his stomach flattens when he arches his back. Oh, your little secret's safe with me. Try not to get yourself killed, Vera hops off the stoop and bounds after the woman. His tail sways merrily, as though he hadn't just lied and threatened me. Did you try that thing I mentioned? The Loventian knot. That's the one where you take 3 fingers and... No, actually don't tell me. Knowing you, it's disgusting. Vera's airy laughter echoes down the street. It's only after hearing the cleric have vanished from sight that I realize I'm still missing something. Wait! Reflexively, I shove my hands into my pockets and find it. The room key. I pull it out of my pocket and raise it to the light just to be sure. A nagging feeling distracts from my relief. I don't know what Vera's game was, or what he wanted from me. All I know for certain is that the Cenobium saw fit to leash him, a fate I could share, if that's what his vague warning meant. I let my eyes drift skyward, past the lanterns gently swaying in the breeze to the Cenobium faintly visible through the haze. Just one glimpse is all I need, then I can put this all behind me. This time, the key goes into my coin purse for safekeeping. Vera's a vibe. Reminds me of Ari, but male. It's easy enough to follow the sluggish river that splits Iridia in two. A colossal bridge arches over the dark water below. I cross as quickly as I can, climbing ever uphill toward the distant tower. Oh, Hours later, legs aching, sweat beading on my forehead, I finally find what I was searching for, the cenobium of the luminous void. It stands at the highest point of Iridia, surrounded by cold white walls. Well-dressed people stroll down the walkways, paying no attention to the massive tower in their midst. I'm the only one standing before the gates. I crane my neck up and up until the top of the cenobium tower disappears into the clouds overhead. My stomach gives an uneasy lurch. Though far grander than the humble shrine of my youth, the cenobium gives the same impression of being a gilded birdcage. Yeah, knocking seems like a terrible idea, but I don't see any other way of making my presence known. I'm halfway up the steps when something moves in my peripheral vision. A shadowy figure crouches beneath one of the white walls. They reach out and tug on a vine, as if testing its strength. Oi, you there! The shadow vanishes as quickly as I spotted it, and a gaunt-faced man in a crisp charcoal uniform marches up the steps towards me. Ugh, another tourist. Get out of here once you're done gawking. A dismissive wave accompanies his equally dismissive words, and he turns on his heel without even waiting for an answer from me. I look back at where I saw the intruder, but there's nothing, just the leaves blowing gently in a cool breeze. Who was that? I want to know who that was. I step away from the gates, hopelessness washing over me. Hello? A whisper so close I can feel the warm brush of breath on my skin. I instinctively jerk away, but there's no one beside me. Halfway down the staircase, I spot a woman swaying in the breeze. She's gaunt as a rail, her blouse moth-eaten. I'm unable to take my eyes off her. Not because of the way she smiles a little too widely, or the way her tousled braids look unbrushed for days, but because her eyes shine a vibrant, unnatural crimson. I'm both entranced and unsettled by their subtle glow. These days, you'd need a miracle to get in there. I'm unsure how to respond, or if I even should. Her gaze is uncomfortably fixed on me, heavy as lead. Say nothing. After the experience I've just had, I'm not too keen on indulging strangers with small talk. Despite my silence, she maintains her unflinching stare and smile. Lucky for you, I have miracles for free. Whatever she's selling, I'm not interested. My words come out in a tired breath. No thanks. I start down the stairs, but she abruptly steps into my path. She turns her back to me, and before I can react, she slips her fingers under the lacing of her collar, stripping out of her blouse in broad daylight. What do you do? As worn fabric unveils bare skin, my panic is smothered by cold horror. A misshapen, sunken scar carves into the woman's body. Pitted, gnarled skin snakes down her shoulders, blooming from a gaping hole in the back of her neck. A shuddering breath escapes me. The fuck? The fuck is right. Whatever disease this woman had ate away at her from the inside out. How is she able to move or breathe? It's impossible. She shouldn't be alive, and yet... The power to cure anything can be yours too. The power of the sea spring. The woman slides back into her blouse and deftly laces it up. If I've caught your interest, then follow me. It's only a short walk away. Without another glance, she leisurely strolls down the cenobium stairs, loose braids bobbing behind her. The edge of her scar peeks out from under her collar. I stand there, wordless, until I manage to regain my bearings. It's a twisted miracle, but a miracle nonetheless. This could be the stupidest decision in my life, but what choice do I have? I take a final look at the cenobium's shut gates, then follow her down the steps. Woo! Fucking making mistakes left and right. We descend from the higher streets, leaving behind their gilded decadence as we cross the river. The wet, derelict districts feel more familiar to me, but the crimson-eyed woman takes me farther still, until I met with an all-too-familiar sight. My gut lurches when I see the open horizon. The city's outskirts are hardly recognizable in daylight, and probably safer for it, but venturing beyond Iridia's walls is a gamble I wasn't prepared to take so soon. Keep going straight, and the sea spring will reveal itself to you. I bark out a bitter laugh, loud and involuntary. This has to be a setup. As soon as I step out there, some friends of yours will ambush and mug me. If I wanted something from you, I would already have it. She says it so lightly, I almost believe her, even if she looks as physically capable as a toothpick. You're as safe inside the city as outside of it. Truthfully, the territory before you is the safest of all. What do you mean, territory? This region belongs to Ace. Most people know him as a gang leader, but he's much more than that. I squint against the empty wastelands. Only a fool or someone with nothing to lose would leave the city. Apparently I'm both. But if this sea spring cured her, I need to see what it can do for me. I set off into the wastes. Over my shoulder, the woman calls after me. Good luck, Rashi. I hope we meet again. My heart pounds with each step I take from civilization. It doesn't take me long to realize it's not the only heartbeat I hear. Like a nagging thought at the back of my mind, I can sense another pulse thrumming through the earth beneath my feet. I never told that woman my name. I felt this presence before when I first stepped out of Kurus's clinic. A living dread coursing underneath the city, only this time I'm getting closer to it. For what seems like an eternity, I force each foot forward, one step, then another, until a realization hits me. I never told the woman my name. Something pierces the horizon ahead of me. A building nestled into a tall cliffside, but so starkly out of place it might as well be a hallucination. It drips with extravagance and honeyed mahogany, an ornate jewel of architecture. A row of dark silhouettes stand out on the horizon, trees I think, until I'm close enough to realize that what I mistook for branches were spikes and jutting tendrils. Soulless, several of them watch me in the distance like statues. I don't think, I just run, exploding into a messy sprint. I push my legs as fast as they'll take me towards that decorated building. Flashes of last night chase me, the gushes of blood and screams of death, the smell of burning flesh and sour bile. I can't go through that again. I won't. The next thing I know, I'm dashing up wooden stairs and crashing through towering double doors. Whoa. I gasp for air, my lungs burning from exertion. I'm desperate to be safe, but when I process my surroundings, it's more hellscape than sanctuary. Blood flows all around me, overwhelming my vision with a lurid, unholy red. Instinctively, my hand leaps to my mouth. But the rotten stench of blood never comes. Instead, a smoky scent hangs in the air, sharp and spiced. I swallow thickly, convincing myself that it's not as gruesome as it appears. This has to be the sea spring, the place that grants miracles. Pulling my eyes away from the pool, I take in the rest of my environment. Tall pillars flank me, blanketed in written notes. Seating pillows scatter the floor. A rustic kettle sits nearby. Someone must live here, despite how eerily empty it is. I'm staying silent. I approach the paper-covered pillars. Maybe something here can tell me more. I reach for the topmost? I reach for a note that's higher up. It reads, "No one will read this, but it's not for anyone else. This is evidence I existed in this rotten, grim world. Even so, I wish I could have stayed longer. The bog girl will be lonely without me. I should have told her how The rest is scratched out. I wonder who wrote this." Before I can ponder it further, a sharp chill runs down my spine. Something's watching me. I quickly set the note back, my eyes darting around the wooden deck, but it's still empty, vacant. Finally, I look towards the sea spring. That stillness hides something deeper, something wrong. Something familiar. It's watching me. Hey. Hey. I spin around and come face to face with a pack of soulless. They chitter and growl, tendrils and spikes flaring threateningly, all different sizes and species, but sharing one identical trait: glowing crimson eyes. I try to back away, but my heel teeters over the sea spring. I'm cornered. Watch your step. It's deeper than it looks. Watch your step. It's deeper than it looks. That voice again. At the sound of it, the soulless freeze, their snarls quieting. Oh my god. Oh my god. I search for the voice's source and find it above me, lounging in the rafters. It's so cute! Look at his little horns! You look lost, little sparrow. His gaze is a violent crimson, one that sears through me, leaves me feeling raw and exposed. They're the same eyes I've seen over and over, first with the scarred woman, now with the soulless circling me, all bound by the sea spring's blood red. In the shroud of darkness behind him, shapes like massive tentacles twist and coil around the wooden beams. I can't focus. The soulless's growls ring in my ears. They're not advancing, but that could change at any second. Panic rises in my throat as I struggle to track them. Hey. Eyes on me. My stomach rolls as I tear my eyes away from the soulless. Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite. For a moment, anger knocks my fear aside. Who is this bastard? I'm kind of distracted by the soulless about to maul me. His name is Bastard. Only on my command. I scan the soulless again. They really aren't attacking, posturing more than anything else. You tamed them? Power of the sea spring. They're hungry, so they might bite. You could give me a reason to stop them. How that I didn't do anything wrong? Trespassing. And that's punishable by death. He gives a non-committal shrug. Expecting mercy was your first mistake. My voice stops in my throat. This man's terse coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. I I rack my brain for a way to diffuse the situation. Okay, fine. I need help. I thought the sea spring could cure me somehow. My voice wavers pathetically. Honesty has never been my strong suit. He cants his head to the side, praising me, but doesn't respond. I fidget nervously. I'm gonna save. I'm telling you, I came here for help. Are you listening? Your hands. Alarm jolts through me. I have my hands under my cloak. Show me. Why? Won't ask twice. With a sharp huff, I reluctantly hold out my bandaged hands. Are you getting off on this? Unwrap them. Heat rushes to my face and fire to my tongue. I should give him a piece of my mind, but not when his soulless are one command from ripping me to shreds. Yet no matter how much I will myself to move, my body is frozen in place. I stand there for a long, agonizing minute. My hands are trembling when I finally raise them. I know the skin beneath the wrappings all too well, the hideous, unnatural flesh I've grown to despise. I grip the edge of the bandages. Stop. With a weary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panels underfoot. He's a monster with an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big, illuminated by lantern light. His features are stronger, sharper. Subtle clinks of metal accompany each of his footsteps. The closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. What does he want? Is he going to kill me? I step backwards and find nothing to set my foot on. I'd forgotten my back was to the sea spring. I fall, right before a warm hand catches my lower back. Ah! Damn! I'm hovering above the sea spring, the scent of smoke and leather enveloping me. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine. Told you to watch your step. I'm too stunned to muster a response. Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gesture from his fingers, the soulless around us disperse and relax. The shift in their demeanor is so abrupt, it gives me whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters, though now I doubt I ever saw them at all. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief. Thanks. As focused on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkways, checks the contents of the kettle with a scowl. The sudden disregard is almost insulting. So that's it, I'm not a threat anymore? Never were one. Then why'd you threaten me? People get honest when they're afraid. In other words, he was messing with me. I drag a hand over my face, exhausted by the fact that this is the second time a monster has provoked me today. You're ace, aren't you? Depends who's asking. One of your friends told me this was your territory. She also said you were a gang leader. But there's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. Ace picks up the kettle and walks to the edge of the sea spring, then dumps out the contents into the endless red. Gang took a walk. His pleasant smile stretches across his face, ear to ear. Then in an instant, it drops. I get the sense that I shouldn't ask about his gang again. You said you came here for help. Depends, can the sea spring cure a curse? Probably. You mean you don't know? Nope. He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting stray cups, tidying up. My frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. When he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. Are you being irritating on purpose? Listen, Sparrow. The sea spring can cure anything. Nothing's stopping you from trying it yourself. What do I have to do? Drink. I have to drink from the sea spring. My eyes glide to the blood-like pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my guts churn. Is there a price? Always. Ace taps his temple with a finger. Use it a little bit. That's it. Might have already bit it to the punch. My humor earns me an amused fanged grin. This is a little different. When you drink from the sea spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who's ever drank before. Humans, monsters, soulless. One big happy family in your head. My blood runs cold. I've heard of these before. Group minds. My attendants used to tell me that my power granted people access to a higher plane of understanding, a group mind of my own making. All lies. But something tells me this is real, even if one thing doesn't add up. Your eyes are red too, but you obviously haven't forgotten who you are. Before I can finish my sentence, Ace strides past me towards the entrance. Time's up. Let's finish this later. Wait, already? You barely told me anything. Came on a bad day. I've got somewhere to be. There are still so many questions burning on the tip of my tongue, but my frustration spills out before any of them. I was told to come here for help, but instead I get threatened and kicked out. You're joking, right? Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to ruin the host mood. My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me again. My eyes dart back over to the sea spring. A lone ripple dances on the quiet surface. I take Ace's advice and clamp my mouth shut. Ace approaches a nearby Solus, a lanky dog-like one with 6 legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimson eyes adorn its sides. Its forked tail wags rapidly when Ace squats beside it. He runs his fingers through the tendrils, scratches its chin, and pats its head. A gentle smile plays across Ace's lips. The affection he holds for the Solus is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight. Oh, it's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back. Following a short whistle from Ace's lips, it trots over to the entrance obediently, tail swaying. I watch the Solus warily. Pretty is not a word I would use to describe it, and the idea of it protecting me sounds absurd. If I decide to drink, how should I find you? Find someone with eyes like mine. They'll point you in the right direction. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back. It's a lot to process, but I give a small nod. At least I know I have another option for a cure, as disturbing as it may be. I follow the Solus at a measured distance and watch it nudge the giant doors open with ease. When I'm about to cross the threshold, I sneak one last glance behind me. My heart skips when I meet Ace's eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but he just flashes me an easy smile. Till next time, Sparrow. I'll buy you a drink for scaring you. I don't trust myself to do anything but respond with another curt nod. Why am I a sparrow? Outside, more crimson-eyed Solus scuttle about. It's hard to believe it's the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles, roll around in the bog's mud. They pay no attention to me as the dog-like one escorts me away. It's an uneventful trip. Sometimes the Solus looks over its shoulder at me to make sure I'm still following. Time to go home. This is my home. Dust darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. I can't sense that massive heartbeat anymore. Maybe it was all in my head. The Solus sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. As nervous as I am, I carefully glide my fingers through the Solus's tendrils and scratch beneath its chin, just like Ace had. It pushes into my palm in response, rumbling with a sound akin to a purr. The vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. When it's satisfied, the Solus spins around and scampers back in the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. It's barely my first day in Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible, tame Solus being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should call it a day. Yeah. No, that's probably a good idea. Nightfall creeps across the streets of Iridia. The city labyrinthine, even in daytime, has become a warren of treacherous alleyways. It's like a labyrinth. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city abandoned. I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearing towards the wet wick. My steps slow when I hear rustling in the dark. I strain my ears, but everything is still. Is the silence playing tricks on me? The fine hairs on the back of my neck prickle, a frisson of discomfort running down my spine. Something's wrong. My eyes dart from one side of the street to the other, searching for movement, but the shadows are as deep and dark as pools of ink, and I see nothing. I can't stay here. I need to reach a busier part of the city. Drawing my cloak tighter around my body, I hurry on my way. Though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently, there's only the sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass and nothing happens, I begin to wonder. Maybe I really did imagine that noise. Turn the next corner and my thoughts come screaming to a halt. My head spins, the world blurring as adrenaline rushes through my veins. Only one thing is clear amidst the haze. The Solus that attacked the caravan. It's crouched over a dark, indistinct shape. A body. A garland of intestines spill from the pallid flesh. Blood grouts the cobblestones. For a mercy, the Solus is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel heavy. My feet feel as heavy as stones, but I can't just stand here. Holding my breath, I take a step backwards. When the wet slurping sounds don't abate, I take another. Then a shard of glass crunches under my heel. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the Solus raises its head, blood dripping from its tendrils. Every single one of its bulging eyes fix unblinkingly on me. It's really here. It's come back for me. Yeah, run. That's running sounds good. I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkened streets. Behind me. Oh, don't play this game at night, because that is awful. Behind me, a piercing bay splits the silence, and heavy footfalls pound after me. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but I can't seem to shake it. I can hear its breathing now, a wet fluttering rasp, growing closer and closer. The same claws that severed my arm swipe out. I duck, saved by pure reflex, and skid around a corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom drops out of my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars my way, a dead end. When I turn around, the Soulless looms in the entry to the alleyway. It's no longer running. It doesn't have to. As it prowls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the buildings lining the streets are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but... Try the nearest door? I whirl, grabbing at the handle of the closest door. It turns completely, the hinges creaking as I push, and I feel a flash of hope before a weight hits the door from the other side and it slams shut. The click of the lock turning is grimly final. In this wretched world, few people will stick their neck out to help their own flesh and blood, never mind a stranger. The Soulless gives a rasping hiss. It's the only warning I get before it lunges for me with a flash of claws. I hurl myself to the side, but the slick cobblestones betray me. I fall, sprawling over the rough stone. As the Soulless looms over me, I scramble away from it until my back hits the wall. There's nowhere left to go. It descends on me for the kill. Damn it! But the impact never comes. Ooh. I've been saved. I warily crack one eye open, then the other, not sure whether I should believe what I'm seeing. A hooded figure crouches in front of me, one bloodstained hand outstretched. It's the shadow figure I saw before. Ah! Oh! Now you're my vibe. Moonlight silvers the edge of their stiletto knife. Their face and hands are splattered with blood. And the Soulless. My eyes dart past my unexpected rescuer to the misshapen form behind them. The Soulless's many eyes, once restless and vibrant, now look dull and waxy. A red pool spreads slowly from under its body. Numb with shock, I can't help but stare. It's dead. After all the people it's killed. After nearly killing me twice. I can hardly believe it. Well? I gingerly take the offered hand. The stranger's gaze dips to my bandages. Pale lips part, on the brink of a question, then close again. The strength belaying their slight frame, they pull me to my feet. Something about them is strange, unlike any human or monster I've ever met. I can't quite place my finger on why. As soon as I'm on my own 2 feet again, they pull away from me and start wiping the blood from their face and hands. Hello. I don't know what voice to give you. Shit. Stay there. They turn away from me stiffly, leaning over the Soulless's gangly body. With their back towards me, I realize that I saw their hooded silhouette at the Cenobium. I've seen you before. You were at the Cenobium earlier, weren't you? They cast a wary look at me. So what if I was? Their harsh response takes me aback. Before I can formulate a response, they continue. What are you thinking traveling alone at night? This is far from the worst thing haunting Lowtown. I can't make heads or tails of them. First they save me and now they scold me? Lesson learned. I could do without the lecture though. To my surprise, they break eye contact. Their attention glides back to the Soulless's corpse. They examine it with an inscrutable expression. I clear my throat to fill the silence. I'm Rushy. Min. Suddenly Min tenses. Their blade flashes as they drive it into the back of the Soulless's neck. The Soulless thrashes once, letting out a rattling hiss as the air leaves its lungs. Min leans on the blade, driving it deeper and deeper until there's a sickening crunch and the creature goes limp. Ugh. My heart thuds in my chest. It must have been clinging to life by a thread. Min straightens up, withdrawing their blade in a single smooth motion. Better to put wretched things like this out of their misery. They calmly clean the blood from their knife. I swallow, my eyes still glued to the cooling corpse. Why is the Soulless inside the city? Min looks at me, eyes searching before realization dawns. You're new here. There's no walls around the city. Souls can come and go as they please, until someone is contracted to stop them. The Cenobium's patrols don't bother to protect Lowtown, not anymore. Let me guess, you're not a fan of the Cenobium? I wouldn't go that far. Their brow abruptly furrows and they sheathe their knife, motioning for me to follow them. It's not safe here. The vultures can smell death. I'm not quite sure what they mean, but I don't want to stay lost in this city. I trail behind them as they stride down the street. If it's so dangerous, then why are you helping me? I came for the bounty on that Soulless, and you were in the way. Not killing you isn't the same as helping you. Don't count on being so lucky again or you'll be dead by sunrise. Their answer is stingingly harsh. I hold my hands up, trying to forestall any more snippy comments. Alright, I get it. I'd love to get out of your way, but I'm sort of lost. I just need directions back to my lodgings. What makes you think I'll help you? You've already helped me once tonight, why not a second time? That seems to catch them off guard. Their brow knits and they look away scowling. How troublesome. Rushy? Oh, who is it? Oh, Rushy? Ha 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 ha. I turn surprised by the voice. Curus walks down the street towards us. His white and gold clothing is pristine despite the grime of the city. Hello, Min. I see that Solus was your work. Min shrugs. There's a familiarity to the way they regard each other. I didn't know you had friends, Min. I don't. Freelance work is dangerous, and Curus is a doctor, that's all. Roshi needs to get back to wherever she's staying before she wanders into the jaws of another Solus. It is late. Were you able to find a place to stay, Roshi? I'm staying at the Wetwick. Both their faces fall. I see. Would you like a guide? It might be preferable to wandering about alleyways. That would be nice. Min clicks their tongue and sighs, sounding mightily put out. Going to the Amaryllis district, that gaudy cesspit. Come this way. Despite Min's clear distaste, when Curus leads me down the street, they keep pace with us. Catching my curious glance, Min's eyes narrow. It's not safe this late. I don't care about you, but Curus is the only doctor worth a damn in this place. Are you like this with everyone? The deadpan look Min gives me is answer enough. I catch Curus hiding a slight smile. I suppress a sigh and resign myself to having a grumpy shadow all the way back to the Wetwick. Oh my god. The route Curus takes is completely different from my slow meandering earlier in the morning. In no time at all, he cuts through darkened streets and twisting alleys. It seems like half the city has poured into the Amaryllis district's colourful streets. Laughter, clinking glasses and music assault my ears from every direction. Yet the most noise still comes from the Wetwick, its doors hanging wide open, lanterns lit. Here we are. He moves toward the door, and Min lets out an audible huff. Don't tell me you're going in. I have some quick business with Leander. Ugh, fine. He still owes me for yesterday's work. They drag their feet, reluctantly trailing me into the tavern. Goddamn! Save. As soon as the door opens, a wave of sticky heat rolls over me. In the hours since I left, the wick has grown suffocatingly crowded. Curus stands out, easily a head taller than most. Even so, I nearly lose sight of him amid the sea of swarming bodies. Pardon me. The crowd parts as though answering his request. Curus glances over his shoulder at Min and me before gliding through. How can anyone breathe in here? Min follows Curus at a clipped pace. Leander is right where I left him. Although he's traded places with the bartender, he holds a pair of shot glasses filled to the brim with luminous green liquid. And now for the finishing touch. A flash of magic paints the glasses white with frost. You're never gonna guess what's in these. Leander slides the glasses across the bar and I get my third and fourth shots of the evening in rapid succession. Ace leans against the bar, an elbow propped up on the counter. He catches the glasses and lifts one to the light before turning it upside down. The contents, magically congealed, stay firmly in place. You're supposed to make drinks, pretty boy. Don't tell me you're wasted already. Vera, perched on the bar counter beside Ace, takes a single look at the shot glass and shakes his head. What have we here? A bucket full of boogers. Leander's nose treasure. You've eaten worse. Vera's lips twitch and his ears flatten when Ace offers him a glass. He turns his cheek with a sniff, and Ace just snickers. Coward. Don't tell me you're actually... In one fluid motion, Ace throws back his head and downs the shot. Drinking that. A dark look crosses Ace's face. It's chewy. Chewy? Wait, let me try again. Behind me, Min grumbles. I told you this place was a nest of degenerates. If it isn't Curus and Min. At the sound of Leander's voice, Min's pale eyes grow wide. They look ready to bolt until Curus sets a hand on their shoulder. I promise this will not take long. Min's eyes dart from Curus's hand to his face, then soften. Fine, you first. While they step forward, I linger behind, struck by a sudden revelation. All of the people I've met today know each other. Good evening, Leander. Ace? Another drinking competition, I presume? Oh, is it evening already? Could have sworn it was earlier. Just some friendly rivalry, Doctor. Nothing to be afraid of. Curus acknowledges Leander and Ace with the slightest nod, ignoring Vera entirely. Not that Vera seems to mind. He tilts his head and an impish smile curves his lips when he spots Min, looming silently behind Curus. I almost didn't see you there, Min. Looking for your booster seat? Min pushes back their hood. They level Vera with a cool look. I thought Ace wasn't allowed to bring his pets in here. Vera's tail gives an angry twitch. Look at him! At the first sign of an impending fight, Leander vaults clear of the counter. He slides in between Ace and Curris. Now, let's try and keep the peace. It's not every day the esteemed doctor takes us up on a drink. His arm snakes around Curris's shoulders. You've finally taken me up on that drink, right, Curris? I'm afraid not. We were merely escorting Roshi back to her lodgings. Curris gestures in my direction and my stomach sinks. I reluctantly step into the light. As soon as he sees me, Leander's face brightens. Roshi, it's been too long. Everyone, this is Roshi. She's new to Iridia. I feel 5 pairs of eyes fix onto me and suddenly the bar feels suffocatingly small. My voice nearly catches in my throat. Hi. Again. Hi, everyone. Again. Again. Wait, you've already met everyone. Ace and Vera level me with subtly amused expressions. Vera's tail gives a lazy wag. We did. Not that long ago either. I'm starting to suspect she's stalking me. He looks far too pleased with himself when I roll my eyes. This calls for drinks. What does everyone want? In an instant, all eyes turn to Leander, freeing me from the burden of attention. I still can't believe they all know each other. Watching them talk amongst themselves feels surreal. But for the first time since I undertook the journey to Iridia, I feel a faint glimmer of hope. I know, I was meant to meet them. Yeah, because that's part of the game. The low, pleasant rumble of Leander's laughter pulls me from my restless thoughts. Ha! Well, colour me surprised. You make friends fast, Roshi. I wouldn't go that far. We're more like acquaintances. A wise man once said that acquaintances are merely friends you haven't shared a drink with yet. A wise man. You said that here last week. I can hear Min's lip curl with distaste from across the bar. Leander clears his throat and continues, unperturbed. Let's toast to Roshi's health. Care to join in, Doctor? Curris politely declines with a wave of his hand. How about you, Min? No. Are you... No. A resounding pop pierces the din of the bar. We all turn in the direction of the noise. Vera looks almost bashful as he accepts an overflowing flute from the bartender, poured from a bottle so old its label has been worn blank. They serve champagne here. Since when? Vera pauses in the middle of licking champagne foam from his fingers with a coy smile. You don't mind, do you? In a transformation as impressive as his magic trick, the concern on Leander's face vanishes. He laughs softly. No, be my guest. I know you've got expensive taste. Then he shoots the bartender a frantic look. Unbothered or uninterested in his company, Ace cants his head at me, a light smile on his lips. How about you, Sparrow? I did say I'd buy you a drink earlier. No, my treat. Ace regards Leander over the lip of his glass. In the dim light, the glint in his crimson eyes looks downright dangerous. What'll it be, Roshi? I'll take that drink. I'll take you up on that drink, as long as it's not one of those green shots. Don't knock them till you've tried them. They taste better than they look. Somehow I doubt that, but I hold my tongue long enough for Leander to go behind the bar. He's lying, isn't he? When I glance at Ace, he only shrugs. Like I said, they were chewy. Probably poison too. He considers his own drink, a tumbler of amber-coloured whiskey. Leander's tried to kill me 12 times by now. It's always a gamble. Vera clicks his tongue in disapproval. When he finally looks my way, it's with a half-lidded gaze softened by his third glass of champagne. Where are you? I wouldn't let Leander put anything in my mouth. He fans his fingers over his chest, voice dripping with fake reverence. The Wet Wick is one of the finest drinking establishments in all of Iridia. While you're here, you may as well partake of the signature watered-down drinks and stale nut leather. He sweeps his hand towards a chipped ceramic bowl filled with spindly, speckled jerky that I can only assume is nut leather. What is with the food in this city? As abysmal as you make it sound, this place is completely packed. It's not all bad. Depending on the day, the food's edible. Ace takes a measured sip of his drink. Gotta stick around for the real attractions, though. Before I can ask what he means, Leander returns with a tumbler that he sets in front of me. Uneven chunks of ice bob in a pool of reddish-purple alcohol. I eye the drink suspiciously. It better not be another disgusting concoction of Leander's. Relax, it's just the local specialty, plum gin, although if you're feeling more adventurous. I shake my head. Leander raps his knuckles against the bar until the group falls silent. All right, everyone, let's toast. May Roshi stay in Iridia be full of bright adventures and discoveries. Cheers. Leander, Ace, and Vera raise their glasses in unison. Min only crosses their arms, and Curris watches with polite indifference. I tip back my drink. The plum gin is eye-wateringly strong. Despite a sharp medicinal edge, it goes down smooth. One sip softens the edges of my vision, the next fades the din of the crowded bar into a low, persistent murmur. I find myself unwinding for what feels like the first time in years. Aren't you the popular one, Roshi? I'm guessing you met Chorus first. It would be more accurate to say that I found her. He saved my life. I merely performed my duty as a doctor. Although I must admit that I was confused when I woke up missing all my clothes. Leanna makes a choked noise. Somewhere behind him, Min sighs. It's not what you think. Roshi was in grave condition. I could hardly treat such injuries through tattered clothes. The silence that follows stretches uncomfortably long. I look away, unable to face Curris's disappointment, and catch Vera snickering behind his hand. That's my cue to change the topic. Curris isn't the only one who saved me today. Don't you listen? I didn't save you. You were simply there. That's Min for you. Leander reaches for Min, but they duck under his arm with practiced ease. Without so much as looking his way. As reliable as they are moody. You'll want to talk considering you neglected to warn her to stay off the streets at night. Oh, I might have gotten a little distracted. Min's only response is a short breath. At any rate, I never got a chance to thank you, Min. Don't. The less soulless alive, the better. For a heartbeat, Min's eyes flick toward Ace, and their lips twist. Ace is too busy nodding along to Vera's enthusiastic pantomime of stabbing to notice, lost no doubt in an enthralling discussion. I've had enough of this hellhole. Let's go. Min and Curris share a brief look, then the doctor speaks up. Very well, but there is something that I must discuss with Leander. If you'll excuse us, Roshi. And just like that, the three of them depart, leaving me alone to savor my gin in silence. So I think until I hear a voice so soft and low, it's practically a purr. Lost your tour guide? I turn to find crimson and pink eyes trained on me. It's not lost on me that they chose the instant the others left to strike, just my luck. I had to be abandoned with the two most irritating people I've met all day. Monsters or not, there's no telling what I'll do if either of them push me again. Don't tell me Leander already snuck off to get his knob slobbered out back. Oh my god. Hell yeah, Vera! He's got business with Curris and Min. 2-on-1 business. Isn't he lucky? I can't tell if it's the champagne or the company, but Vera has grown noticeably more relaxed. He sits with his chin propped on the back of his hand, his ears twitch whenever a hiccup shakes his shoulders. Why are you so far away? Come, join us. He pats the empty bar stool beside Ace, but I hesitate. The smile Vera wears is sweet and distinctly sly, and with drinks in the mix, I dread how he and Ace will mess with me next. We don't bite. I'm not sure about that. Just hours ago, he tried to rob me, and you threatened me. Me? Steal? Surely you must be mistaken. You sure it was me? Yes, it was you, and then you had the gall to kick me out just so you could go drinking. He gives another one of his shrugs. I was only. A simpler answer than I expected, but I guess I can't fault him for that. Vera suddenly slumps forward, gossamer sleeves pulling where he rests his elbows on his knees. Ace sets his hand on Vera's waist, narrowly preventing him from tipping off the counter. How about we start fresh? Begin with proper introductions. Get off on the right foot and whatnot. I'll start. The name's Vera. Hunter extraordinaire. Vera's right hand flutters to his chest and he bows his head, flinching when hair falls into his eyes. Ace doesn't say anything, so I suppose it's my turn now. It's Roshi. Vera considers me for a long moment, his tail idly swaying behind him. Then he knocks back the rest of his champagne. It's a pleasure to formally meet you, Roshi. He says my name slowly and deliberately, savoring every syllable. A tingle jumps down my spine. I quickly turn my gaze away. Too many hot men! Ah! Too many hot, ambiguous men. Ace smirks at my reaction over the rim of his glass. Is something funny? Nope. I open my mouth and close it just as quickly. They want me to react, goading me into another ridiculous game. While their sharp cat-like eyes keep me on edge, something about this tension is fun. Must be the gin. Flash of white over Ace's shoulder catches my eye. Across the bar, Curris heads for the door. I don't see Leander or Min, but it feels wrong to let him leave without saying goodbye. I'll be back. Vera hums and wags his fingers at me as I leave. I just met all of these people today. I slip through the crowd, careful not to touch anyone, but just as I'm nearing Curris. Oh no. I stagger, shoulder checked by a man with a neck thicker than both my thighs. He stares down at me, nostrils flaring. Out of my way, shit stain. My words spill out on their own. You watch it. I regret them as soon as they leave my mouth. That fucking gin. The roughneck wheels around, shoving a bloodhound out of the way so he can close in on me. What did you say? He shoves me backwards, sending me stumbling to the sticky floor. I'm fine, but my heart leaps into my throat when I see the roughneck bearing down on me. Are you trying to start something in here? The roughneck freezes, his fist cocked back. A group of bloodhounds called by the commotion circle him, sizing him up. For what feels like an agonizingly long moment, the roughneck looks from me to the bloodhounds. Finally, he sniffs and spits on the floor next to me. The lob narrowly misses my cheek. Screw it. Too many freaks in this circus tonight. He turns his back on me and comes face to face with Ace. A dangerous smile spreads across his face. You'll do. What happens next is a blow. Ace's fist crashes into the roughneck's jaw, causing an eruption of gasps, shouts, and even cheers around us. I scramble to my feet right as the frantic crowd swarms around me, cutting off my sight of everything and everyone. Through the ruckus, I hear Leander shouting, Hey, hey, Ace, take it outside. Ignore them, everyone. Look, drinks are on me. With those 4 words, the wick erupts with hoots and hollers. The ring around me disperses as bloodhounds and onlookers rush towards the bar. Through the thinning crowd, I catch glimpses of familiar faces. Ace vanishes out the back, dragging the roughneck behind him. Curris lingers near the door, searching, I suspect, for any wounded before he departs. Min draws their hood up tight as they slip out a side door, while Vera leans over the counter to swipe a glass of wine from behind the bar. And Leander, seated at the opposite end of the bar, gestures dramatically and apologetically at the bartender. In the space of a heartbeat, I realize that there's no telling when or if I'll see any of them ever again. Whoever I pursue may be the last person I get to speak to tonight. I follow. No! Don't make me choose. That's awful, Ace. I don't know. I want to see what happens. Morbid curiosity draws me after Ace. I slink out the back of the wet wick. God damn it. The alley's dead silent, not really what I expected from a fight. A dull crunch reaches my ears, then a thud. I peer around the corner of the building, careful to keep hidden. I want to see what he's doing to him. Dark glistening red spatters the ground, spidering through the seams of cobblestone, guides my eye to a collapsed body across from me. Once so violent, the roughneck is now little more than a sack of crumpled flesh, blottled with mud. Ace. Ace exhales, his breath misting against the cold air. Blood flecks his knuckles as he looms over the motionless body, his feet on either side of it. Fear spreads like ice in my bones. Moments ago he was joking and friendly with the others, but now, Ace's crimson eyes find me in the dark. Not running, Sparrow. I warily rise to my feet, moonlight illuminating my face. I thought I was out of sight. Got eyes in the back of my head. Ace steps off the roughneck. My eyes stay locked on the body. It's wet with layers of blood and grime, completely still. He's alive. Are you sure? Calling me a killer or a liar? Liar. Which I guess is both. In that case, he's dead. I squint and he smacks back. Don't believe me? To be honest, it's hard to believe anything coming out of your mouth. I'm a liar after all. His bloodied knuckles catch his attention. He tries to rub them clean but ends up smearing the blood around more. I keep making bad impressions on you. I didn't know you cared about my opinion. Just prefer you didn't piss yourself when we talk. Annoyance bubbles in my chest. Well, I'm not pissing myself, even with your bad impressions. Like the first time we met, Ace chips away at my fear, replacing it with irritation instead. Ace kneels back beside the roughneck and frisks him. I can't help but wonder if the crime was worth the punishment, but I hold my tongue. Deftly, Ace's hands search through the roughneck's pockets. It doesn't take him long to find his prize, a cigarette and a matchbox. He strikes a match, sparks light up his angular features with a golden glow. It's distracting for a moment, but my gaze inevitably drops back to the muddy body. You're just gonna leave him there? Ace draws deep from the cigarette. He exhales heavily, smoke curling past his lips. I breathe in the sweet spice scent of cloves. As his tension melts away, he looks at me with cool-lidded eyes. Should I give him a blanket? Unbothered by the maybe corpse, he takes a seat on a crate opposite the bar. I stand awkwardly, forgetting why I came out here in the first place. An unpleasant silence stretches between us. Weather's nice. Cold, murky, and humid, he means. I want to believe he's teasing me, but for all I know, this is pleasant for Iridia. Was Princess good company? Who? He takes another long drag. His metal rings catch the light of the cigarette in a flash of red. The Soulless who escorted you back. You named it Princess? Jealous? Oh. I mean a little, Ace. Come on. I return his smile. You have no idea. I think your nickname's more fitting. Sparrow. Not sure where Ace got it from. Maybe I should tell him to call me by my name. But it's kind of nice. Not that I'd ever tell him that. Before I can dissect my feelings, I quickly change the subject back to the Soulless. She was kind of cute in a weird way. I glance absent-mindedly at my hand, remembering how she'd nuzzled into my palm at my touch. Ace's eyes softened for a brief moment. Her tail wouldn't stop going when she got back. The group of them don't get much attention. Think she's cute now. Wait till you see her tricks. You taught her tricks? Princess is a smart one. She'll learn anything if you have the right rewards. Sounds about right. The idea of tame Soulless is still so outlandish to me. I was mauled by a mindless, bloodthirsty beast, and he's talking about them like they're pets. But it's possible, all because of the sea spring. I need to get the answers he wouldn't give me before. Yeah, I really want to know what's up with this sea spring. I carefully take a seat beside him on the crate, contemplating my strategy. He doesn't seem to mind. He closes his eyes, tilts back his head against the wall, relaxed. Without the pressure of his intense gaze, I feel myself ease up too, as long as I keep my attention away from the bloody heap across from us. I glance over at Ace and allow my eyes to linger. Oh, stop lingering on him. A sea glass-coloured tattoo spirals up his arm, painting over grooves of muscle. Silver jewelry glints in the moonlight. It draws my eyes to his bare chest, rough hands, carved jaw. His ears, his horns, his pupils, everything about him is sharp, even the fangs that only show when he grins. But my attention's drawn back to the tattoo. Something about it feels unnatural, as if the tendrils move when I'm not looking. What's your verdict? I whip my head in the opposite direction. What verdict? Got a long, good look. Are you impressed or do I need work? My face grows hot. I guess I've seen worse. He responds with a low chuckle, draped in smoke. Keep staring then. My embarrassment spikes. Without thinking, I blurt out a change in topic. I have questions about the sea spring. Boredom eclipses his amusement in an instant, and he closes his eyes again. Of course you do. I thought I made myself clear. What you'd be giving up. Before you kicked me out to go drinking, I still need to know more. My turn for a question. It sounds more like an order than anything else. I bristle under his narrowed gaze. Fine. He takes a long pull from his cigarette and lets the smoke trail slowly from his lips. Your curse. What about it? This song and dance is all too familiar. The selfish questions come first. What does it do? Is it painful? Can you control it? I brace myself for the inevitable onslaught. Is the thought of living with it really so unbearable? My dread dies with his words. No one has asked me that before. You survived this long. Unless you're running out of time, I'd wonder if it's really worth the sacrifice. He flicks the cigarette aside and props his head on blood-smeared knuckles. But what do I know? I'm just an outsider. My fingers fuss with the trim of my cloak. Ordinarily, I'd feel annoyed, but now my chest feels tight. You could have sold me if you were less honest. You're a shit salesman. Thought it was a lie. I changed my mind. We lapse into silence again. This time it's surprisingly nice. The quiet, chilled air is a calming reprieve. The dead body is a bit smelly, but... You know, you didn't seem like an outsider back at the bar. A lot of people like you. Ace raises a brow at me. I start by asking about... Vera. I was surprised to see that you and Vera are close. Blessing and a curse. From what I've gathered, most people think he's, I don't know, an asshole. And water's wet. I wait for him to elaborate or add his thoughts, but he doesn't. So what do you like about him? He lets out a quiet laugh as if amused by my question. A lot of things. You already named one. You like that he's an asshole? Temperament matches the drapes. Looks good in blood and better in tears. Favorite thing's the tail. Sometimes it frizzes up if you... He catches himself, clears his throat. It's hard not to let the disappointment show in my expression. And my voice. I wanted to know, Bear is one of the most honest people you'll meet. Just don't listen to a single thing he says. Those sound like complete opposites to me. What about Curris? I didn't know that you and Curris were friends. Anyway, I help him in the clinic sometimes. Doctor doesn't let most people closer than arm's length. And you do? Heart's on my sleeve. Get the sense Curris was like that in the past. Must have been burned. He trails off after the last few words, then shrugs. He opens up in his own ways, if he's relaxed enough. I don't know how to even imagine that. You'd be surprised. Even the doctor has an endearing side. I can't decide what's more intriguing, the fact that Curris has an endearing side, or the idea that Ace has managed to coax it out of him. Tell me if you uncover any of his other secrets. I'd kill to know more. What about Min? Maybe Min doesn't necessarily like you, but they definitely pay attention to you. Ace's reaction takes me off guard. He growls, pinches the bridge of his nose, as exasperated as I've ever seen him. I make enemies as easily as I breathe, Sparrow. Doesn't bother me. But that dove's got it out for me for no reason. Maybe they're unsettled by the sea spring. It's not about that. Goes without saying that they've got some issues. Don't think they understand that you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Honey has left a bad taste in my mouth in the past. It could be the same for them. At least you're capable of a conversation. Do me a favor and teach that dove some manners. Thought they'd lay off eventually if I didn't bite. Hasn't happened yet. I briefly consider the possibility that Min wants to get bitten. I'm not about to propose that, though. You and Leander clearly get along well. You like Leander? Doesn't everybody? He's helped me a lot since I arrived in Iridia. He even got me a free room at the wetwork. His charm has gotten him far, but for a leader, he sure likes it when others take control. Part of me desperately wants to ask what he means, but Ace continues before I get the chance. Surprised we get along? I thought you'd be at each other's throats instead of drinking buddies. His smile is easy, but there's a dangerous edge to it. Leander's done a good job. For a human. Naturally, there'll come a time when his resolve is tested. Same could be said for anyone, in this plane or the next. As for my resolve, well, stick around in Iridia long enough and you'll find out. I nod slowly. I can't decide if it sounds like a promise or a threat. Got any more observations, Sparrow? My main point is that speaking from experience, being an outsider usually means you don't have friends. I don't. I level him with a tired look. Fine, I'll confess. I have one friend. Don't say yourself. Acudius. As soon as he says the name, a thick wave of unease runs through me. The same sensation I felt at the sea spring and in the outskirts. But as quickly as the sick feeling hits me, it dissipates, leaving me oddly numb against that prickling cold. Who's that? A friend. It lives in my head. It lives in your head? Ace taps his temple with a finger. Right here. Scared you off yet? That'd be the third bad impression I've made on you today. I'm stunned for a long moment, processing what he's just told me. Then I burst into a fit of laughter. You're serious? Ace grins wide enough to flash his fangs. Deadly. It sounds so fucking absurd, I can't help it. On top of everything I've gone through today, it feels like I'm living a fever dream. I've come close to death more times than I can count, encountered tame soulless and a horrifying group mind, and now I'm supposed to believe that there's someone living inside Ace's head. There are tears in my eyes by the time I rein myself in. Ace waits patiently, lips quirked in amusement. Sorry, it just sounds so ridiculous. The tension that wound my shoulders so tightly has melted away, and for the first time in a long time, I feel like I can breathe. I feel better. Dukas, where in the rat's ass are you? Raucous, gruff shouts rise in the streets, echoed by the sound of heavy boots sloshing through mud. The voices share the roughneck's accent from the bar, the same roughneck who is still maybe dead and lying bloodied across from us. I nearly forgot about him. I shove to my feet as their voices get louder, they're closing in quick. Ace pulls me by the wrist out of the alley, away from beaming moonlight. We dive into a nook between buildings, veiled in the shade of tattered canopies. It's a tight fit. Ace boxes me in against the wall, his body all but pressed against mine as he towers over me. It's the start of a novel. Ah! For the second time today, the heady scent of smoke envelops me, but this time cut with a metallic tinge of someone else's blood. Ace pitches his voice low. Quiet. My heart leaps into my throat. I'm suddenly acutely aware of the heat radiating off Ace's body, the feeling of his leg grazing my thigh, the closeness of his breath. This is bad. What's bad? I squirm against him and earn a burning crimson glare. I believe I've read something like this before. Do we really have to? His hand covers my mouth, muffling my whispers. He shakes his head. Don't. Yeah, no, yeah. Damn, he's over here. Dukas, wake up, you bastard. A group of individuals all brandishing spiked weapons fill the alley. They all wear violet sashes, some kind of uniform. I wish I could see what they're doing, but Ace's arm all but blocks my sight. My eyes trail up the teal markings. They coil around his arm, his bicep. They lead up to Ace's collarbone, to the cords hanging around his neck. And to the smuggest smirk I've ever seen. I would love nothing more than to chew him out, but his hand is clamped over my mouth. I fix him with the deadliest glare I can muster. Ace responds with a wolfish grin, and I realize I've locked myself into eye contact with him. A thrill jolts through me, my face hot beneath his touch. This can't be happening. Why am I getting worked up in this situation? No, maybe because it's hot. Voices in the alley grab Ace's attention this time. Shit, he's got more broken ribs than old ones. What kind of freak did this? Fan out, find the cocksucker responsible. You three, take Dukas back to base. At least he's still breathing. The alley clears out as footsteps rush away from us. We stay still until they're distant, melting into the rumble of the quarter. Only then does Ace take his hand off my mouth. When we finally step back into the moonlight, the night air is ice on my skin. I feel dazed and the need to keep my eyes off Ace at all costs. Was that really necessary? The tremble to my voice is nothing but embarrassing. Staying hidden was the best option. Would be a hassle to run into them with you there. What, because I'm dead weight? Because 3 bad impressions are enough for one day. The answer is too vague for my liking, but he's probably right. Either way, I don't have the energy to argue. Come on, Sparrow, let's get you home before you're framed for murder. Very funny. We reach the front of the wet wick too quickly. I hate to admit it, but I don't want to separate from Ace yet. And not just because he never answered my questions. He's infuriating. As easily as he makes me feel on edge, he can make me feel safe, secure somehow. You know where to find me. At the creepiest place in the world? Take your time before you decide to drink. I happen to like your shitty attitude. It takes me a moment to process it, then my eyes flutter down to my feet. I'll keep that in mind. When I glance back up from the ground, Ace is already down the street, disappearing into the throng of people. No fanfare, not even a wave. Asshole. Haha. Choose my fate? What do you mean, choose my fate? Can't I choose all of them? Well, I followed Ace, so I might as well choose Ace. An intimidating yet laid-back outsider. Wait. Save. It told me to save often. I'm gonna choose Ace. An intimidating yet laid-back outsider, Ace presides over a sea spring with unnerving powers. He offers you a miracle, but the price means submitting yourself to the horrifying presence at the heart of the spring. Will you gaze into the abyss for answers, even at the risk of losing yourself? Yeah, I will. No! That's where it ends? Damn it! Okay. That was fun. I love visual novels like this, especially. Like, my favorite one, I think because I haven't been playing many lately because I'm using this experience as a way to get back into games. I'm playing I Want to Hug That Gator at the minute, and that's really fun. I'm playing the demo version of that. I need to get the full version. But I remember the first one that I actually ever played fully through was Dream Daddy. And that was just amazing. I had so much fun with it. And this is like a blend of like my favorite like romantic-y, dark fantasy novels that I sometimes read, sometimes being the operative word. I have a friend that likes to recommend me books and I sometimes don't know what I'm getting into until it's too late. But I do enjoy them. And so, you know, it's just like that, but with pictures. Literally it. So if this seems like something that you would be interested in playing through, yeah, get it. The demo's on Steam and go to this website if you want to learn more about this. Like I said, it's called Touchstarved. It does not have a release date yet. It says to be announced. But yeah, obviously there are things that you can change and do in the demo. Like it said at the start, you can, there are multiple choices that you can make that change the outcome of what happens. So if that is interesting to you, go and pick it up. I am gonna go to bed because I'm tired and it's late, and that took far longer than I was expecting, but I enjoyed every minute of it. The fucking sounds, the noises. I'm gonna play through this again with the music on in my spare time just so I can experience it with the music, but the sounds, it's kind of scary when it's just all quiet and then it's like, but yeah, that's going to be it for me, guys. I will catch you in the next one. Play many, many games and have an awesome day.